people, you're their car guy at that point. I want people to think of me as their car guy. If they've got a service issue, I want them to call me. If they want to know what paint coat is on a Malibu, I want them to call me. I want to be the car guy, not just a salesman.
Do they have your cell phone or just a work number?
Everybody's got my cell phone, and I'll answer it at any time.
I see that's the other thing too. As you make it convenient for the customer to get a hold of you, whether it's email, cell phone, or your work number. So, I look on Facebook a lot of times and I see people there. There's no information. If you post a car on, say, Facebook, and I'm hot about a certain car, and I can't get a hold of you, I have to stop and ask for permission to get your contact number. I think the the salespeople who don't do that are losing money. What do you say about that, Justin?
I think you have to be really accessible to your customers. Customers want a couple things, and I think this is changing over time since when I got in the business, and definitely, Fran, since you've been in the business. People want a relationship with their salesperson. They want a friend in the car business. I mean, there's 3 professions in America that I think are looked down upon, and that's lawyers, dentists, and car salesmen. Everybody wants a friend that's one of those people because they don't want to deal with a car salesman for a car, but they will deal with their friend. So I think the more accessible you are to your customers, the easier it is to build that relationship, which is why we're here today, is to learn how to build a relationship, and that relationship will last a lot longer than if you're just a salesman. Even with pretty good follow-up, if you have a friendly relationship with your customer, it'll last longer.
Absolutely, and here's what I discovered when I did it, and I'm sure you agree. When you're out and you're talking to people, whether it's a big company or you're going into a small business to promote yourself or get someone to sponsor you, that's a whole lot more fun than sitting at work trying to wait to grab a phone call or grab an up, isn't it?
Oh, it's a lot of fun. And that's a good thing about all these events we do and all this stuff we go out in the community and do. It's a lot of fun, and we meet cool people, and we build these relationships where people come back to us for cars, and it's just a revolving cycle. You go out and you do something for them, they in turn come buy a car from you. Well, then there's a source of repeat and referral business because they say, hey, Justin's the one that does a single airman's Christmas party, go see him. It's just a revolving cycle. The more you give, the more you'll get in return. But you have to be genuine about it. You can't go out to these events and go, hi, I'm Justin, I sell cars. Hi, I'm Justin, I sell cars. You have to be genuine in the fact that you're giving them something, and they'll come to you in return.
Well, the other thing, too, is when they do come to you, it really saves you time, because I'm sure the same thing happened to you. It happened to me, is because when you get people coming in asking for you, there's a couple of things that take place right off the bat. Number one, your close ratio is higher. Your grosses are usually more higher because somebody's sending them to you, and it's more fun.
I would agree 100% with you. We all know that a repeat and referral is an easier close and a higher gross, like you just said. The one thing that it's hard for a car salesman in today's world is to gain trust. Well, with their repeat and referral, they come in trusting you because they trust Bob who sent them. And in turn, they trust you. So if a customer comes in the door, they're repeat and referral, half the battle is won. Because like I said before, people don't want a car salesman anymore. They want a friend in the car business. Well, if Bob's your friend and they're Bob's friend, in turn, they're your friend. And they come in and they've got a friend in the car business because Bob said they did. So they come in and half the battle is won.
Well, I think that's just awesome. Now, you talked a little bit earlier about, some of the prospecting tools are making money for you when you sleep. Now, you have a couple of them we talked about. I think you said you had the stickers, magnets, and some other prospecting tools. We talked about this morning. Why would you buy those when you're making all this money and selling all these cars? Why would you even try and get more?
Why would you not? The way I look at it is these tools have taken me from 17 to 34 or 35 a month. Why not let these tools and more tools take me to 50 a month, like where you were when you were selling? Some of the tools that I've used are, thank you cards, birthday cards, of course, stickers, magnets. Now, these thank you cards and birthday cards have to be handwritten. You have to be genuine. So if you handwrite a note and send it to them the day they take delivery and it's in the mail the next day, they again go back to, wow, he really cares. He took the time to send us a thank you card, to send us a birthday card. You'll see a slide on here and something. The most important prospecting tool I have is this right here. It's a free Happy Meal. I buy 100 of them at a time for $1.50 a piece. The local owner of McDonald's here is a good friend of mine and a customer, of course. When I've got a family in here with 2 kids and they're screaming and crying and we're trying to get the deal done, I'll hand them each a free Happy Meal. Hey guys, if you be good, your mom and dad will take you guys for a Happy Meal one of these nights and I'll pay for it. Here's a free Happy Meal. So 2 things happen. My friend that owns McDonald's loves it because mom and dad have to eat too. And the kids, it just shuts them up. It's automatically quit crying. Let's get this over with so we can go to McDonald's. And the parents remember this more than anything I've ever done. I'll have parents come in and buy a car and go, my daughter wanted to come see you because you're the free Happy Meal guy. I'll pay $1.50 on a kid's Happy Meal all day for that.
So you're thinking outside the box. It's the same way with me. I had little coloring books, and I did the same thing. When we had to redemo a car the second time, they weren't happy or wasn't quite making a decision, we'd always drive by McDonald's and buy them something else. What you said is so important. So you're setting yourself apart from the rest of the salespeople by spending a measly $1.50 and gaining so much trust and loyalty. And that's the whole purpose about these webinars we're doing. We're sharing little techniques that you don't have to spend thousands of dollars. My sales training book's called Selling from Their Heart. That's exactly what you're doing with your customers, whether it's at the dealership or outside the dealership. And it takes a short amount of time that those people will flock to you. And I think it's outstanding what you're doing. And the listeners here today, you don't have to spend a lot of money. Like you said about those handwritten birthday cards, there's nothing better than a handwritten card because, like you said, it means so much. And even if you have 1,000 names, that's only 3 a day if you stop and think about it. Now, Justin, I know you got holiday cards ready to go out. And, I don't think there's any reason why anybody can't have 500 of them, between now and December 1st. And if they all have a magnet in there with your picture on, like you said as well, your cell phone, the dealership's phone number, and your email address, so they put the magnet on the refrigerator, that little amount of time that you spent doing that because you care is you're going to get so much of that back next year. You see, what you're doing is you're having multiple ways to generate income. And I think that's just so awesome. So you actually work less at the dealership and you're selling more cars because of this. Is that true?
Oh, 100%. I've been at the same dealership 14 years, same dealers, and I worked a lot. I didn't take vacations at first, and a lot of this goes back to my story how I started and stuff. I was a single dad for 10 years when I started, and dad broke when I started. So I didn't take vacations. I didn't even hardly take weekends off for about 10 years. This year was the first year that I took 7 whole days off. No cell phone. I talk to Fran all the time. I got to go up in the mountains, one of my favorite spot in Colorado, go fishing. And I was gone for 7 whole days, and it didn't hurt me a bit because I've got to build these contacts. And when my customers come in, another thing I've done, and I don't know, rules at dealerships are different. One of my best friends is another salesman here. When I'm out of town, if anybody asks for me, they get taken straight to him. For 2 reasons. He takes care of customers the same way I do because I was the one that kind of got him hired and have trained him along. So I know they're going to get taken care of with respect and everything else. And then we just settle up when I get back. So, and that's something, different management and different dealers are different. But I can go away in peace and enjoy my vacation because I know my customers are taken care of when I'm gone.
I think that's crucial, too. I was the same way. Everybody does it a little bit different. I mean, if I was loaded up, sometimes I'd have 4 or 5 customers. I'd pay a salesperson $20. I said, hey, go on a 20-mile demo. I'll give you $20. If I make a big gross, I'll give you $50. And you're right, by helping or working with each other is a whole lot better way than having somebody said hello and then one half the deal. So that's real important, too, that you build relationships with people on the sales floor that's going to work with you instead of trying take the money, your hard-earned money that you worked for those years. Now, let me share this with you. Some of these guys and gals are on here have only been in business for a year. Justin, do you think they can really pick the pace up if they did this for 6 months?
If you will, of course, if you will go out and get your prospecting tools and get those working for you, because that's critical, is to have your prospecting tools working for you while you're at home with your family in the evening or what have you. Get those working for you and really focus on building a relationship with your customers. I'm not the most digital guy. I really don't even like Facebook. I'm on Facebook because everybody is and I have to be, but I'm not the most digital guy. You're not going to see a lot of videos from me. I envy those people that do videos like Mike Davenport and Elise and Robert Wiseman and all these. I wish I could be like that, but I'm just not the most digital guy. I'm a more handshake. I want to be your friend. Let's build a relationship. That's the type of business that I've built. And I'm trying to get into those other digital realms because I know that'll just bring more opportunities to build more relationships. But if you get on those and build it, get all your prospecting tools working, start building relationships with your customer where they absolutely think you're the car guy in that town, even a new guy you'll double your sales.
Well, that's the same way when it was for me. What I tried to do is I had like my daily calendar every 30 days or for 30 days, and I'd make sure I'd go into a particular restaurant, once every 2 weeks, and I had my name tag on, so every time I went in, eventually they got to know who I was. And after we became friends, I put that manager or the person that, in the restaurant in my birthday system. You see, you don't have to sell somebody a car. See, I had a little less than 15,000 names. Of course, I was in big businesses. Bethlehem Steel was 5,000 people. But I realized, hey, you don't have to sell somebody a car to be a friend. And that's exactly what you're talking about. The difference between the other salespeople, or a lot of salespeople, and you and I, Justin, is we went out and did it and experimented with it, and next thing you know, the people are crawling out of the woodwork. I'm trying to tell you, I think it's easier to sell a car now than ever before because of the Internet, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. We didn't have that when I sold cars. Just imagine if you put the prospecting together and you go out and start building these relationships, and then you do the stuff on, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook, just how much it can grow. But why would anybody want to do that? You have to have a mission. That's what I'm saying before with these 11 goals. If you don't know what it takes to make you happy, you cannot be happy. And that's one of the hot buttons that when we first spoke, I said, hey, Justin, if you really want to go to that cabin, you got to find a better way because your way's not working. And it was just so awesome to hear your response when you said, you know what, I can do this. I can do this. And like you said so many times, like a dealer or a manager don't have enough faith in you that you can do 30 or 40 cars a month. That's all you needed was a little bear hug and say, okay, try this, this, and this. And you weren't a rookie. So, for someone like yourself to make those changes and do that, believe me, brother, you earned every penny you got. Now, I asked your permission to do this earlier. I know this is going to shock a lot of people. People think that, somebody make $100,000 in a car business is a star. Now, don't misunderstand me. If you are those people out there that are making $100,000, that's okay. But if you keep thinking bigger and you go out of your way to do something, knowing that the reward is going to be there down the road, you can make this kind of money. Justin, you told me this morning, how much did you make in the last 2 years selling cars? Now, this is private. There's nobody going to hear it.
So I want to come back a little bit, Fran, and then I'll answer your question. When I started the car business, like I just told you guys, I was a dead broke single dad. I had custody of my 2 kids, and the first 10 years of the car business were like that. And you talk about struggle. I was really trying to make it work. And I don't have a college degree, so I always thought, well, this is it. I was making $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year, which I thought was excellent. In the last 2 years, so 2013 and 2014, I'll make $500,000. And I don't say that to brag. I'm a real humble guy, and Fran will tell you because Fran's asked me to say my income before, and I don't like to because I don't like to brag. But there's someone out there on this call that was sitting in my shoes 14 years ago, dead broke, trying to make it work, single mom, single dad, or married, with 2 kids and trying to make it work, that in 4 or 5 years, because you can speed up the process a lot faster than I can with your knowledge that you guys have today, I want you to know that you could be sitting there in the same shoes.
Well, that fires me up. So, that's what's really special about our webinars. We have people that I've worked with directly or indirectly over the years, all making big money. And what's really cool is everything we said today is 100% true. Now, could you go to another town, Justin, and do the same thing?
I could go to another town and do the same thing. A lot of the pay depends on, different dealers have different pay plans, things like that. I think we have a pretty aggressive pay plan. But now that I know how to prospect and how to build relationships, drop me off anywhere and I'll be successful, because I know how to shake a person's hand and become their friend, and by that I'm friends with all their friends, and I know how that spreads. So my income, it could be better, could be worse depending on pay plans, but I could build the same clientele anywhere I go.
All right, that's awesome. All right, we're getting towards the end of this. Brian, we have a couple people with questions. We always take a couple minutes to answer some questions. They could be directed either to Justin or myself. So, let's get a couple questions in if we can.
Yeah, Fran. Actually, this question is from John from New York. He wanted a little more elaboration on what do you say to your manager? I mean, what should somebody say to their manager when if the manager doesn't want them to go out prospecting? How do you get around that?
Well, that's pretty easy, because as a former GM, and Justin hit on it a little earlier, the reason why a lot of managers don't want you to go out is because you don't work. Now, if I was at a dealership, I would go to my manager, and you got to be excited about it. He's not going to believe you. Tell him you want to go out prospecting. And the main thing, go at 2 o'clock or something like that. That's in one of my daily routines in my book. Just say, and I'll show you the results. So you can bet one thing, if they're nice enough to let you go and you come back and show results, they're going to let you go. As a GM, believe me, I want you out there prospecting. In fact, as a GM, I made it a requirement. You couldn't even eat lunch there. Why? Because if you go out and meet 15 people every day and you talk to them, somebody's going to pay for your lunch every day for the rest of your life. You see, I know the importance of that. As a GM, that was easy for me. But if you have a GM or your manager that's a little insecure about you, all you got to do is ask them. Say, look, I'm going to go out prospecting if that's okay with you. Get their permission, and say, when I come back, I'm going to show you what I have. All you got to do is bring a lead or two back once in a while. Guess what? He don't want you there if you're bringing your own customers, and he wants more people like Justin and myself who are out there getting it done. So you got to earn that a little bit. But I would ask. And then if they still say no, believe me what I tell you, that didn't stop me anyway. I went out still getting my own. So if that don't work, you can go in the morning, go afternoon. You'll have a lunch break. Go on your lunch break and do it. But eventually, it's just like Justin said, the more you do it, the better it's going to get. So if a manager says no, don't use that as an excuse or accept that as failure. You can figure a way to get out to talk to these people. It's better if you have your manager's blessing, but go ask him. And by all means, if you come back with a lead, show it to him. And I'm sure he'll let you continue it.
Perfect. This question, this one's directed to both of you, I guess. This one is, what do you say to get into a business? Like Fran, you had mentioned how you go into certain places with your name tag on. What do you guys say when you first try to get in?
I'll take that if you don't mind, Fran. One of the biggest businesses that I've worked with here is it's an animal clinic and vet supply. And it's funny, the same manager that told me I wasn't organized enough to sell 30 said because they all drove Chevy trucks, and I knew that. He said they're not loyal. They buy their trucks, and whoever's cheapest, they'll go 200 miles to buy cheap trucks. Well, the guy came in one night to buy a lacrosse for his wife, and I knew who he was. And I said, who do you buy your trucks from? And he said, whoever's cheapest. I said, will you give me a shot next time? He said, yeah, sure. I've sold him 40 trucks over the last 4 years. He's never left here because it wasn't whoever's cheapest. It's whoever gave him the best service. But to answer the question, make contact with the owner somehow, or I wear my name tag too. My wife kind of gets annoyed. We'll go to Chili's for dinner, and I got my name tag on. But it opens doors, and people ask about it.
Nice. Brandon, is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah. Well, when I went into Mr. Brown, because you don't get discouraged like I was. I mean, we're all going to get discouraged, and believe me, I got discouraged. But one thing kept me going is I realized, hey, if I can get in one of these big factories, it does a whole lot better than going into 25 little ones. That means I didn't want to go into small companies, but after getting thrown at enough of them, I went in this way. At the Hershey Chocolate Factory, there's little security gates, about a 15-square-foot room where you have to get a badge to get into the next level. So I went in there. I said, is Mr. Brown here? The lady said, yes. Who is it? I said, Fran Taylor. She said, what's it about? I said, making money. She said, what's it about? I said, making money. Do you have a card? No. You don't want to give them a card to get in, because as soon as they see you're a car salesman, they don't want to talk to you. So I didn't give him a card. And then I said to her, tell him if he's not impressed in 2 minutes to throw me out. So she said, okay, go up. So I went up. He had his feet propped on the desk, his arm out, and said, go. So I said, hey, Mr. Brown, I sell cars at ABC Motors. I said, sometimes we have an abundance, but we don't have enough to do a big blown sale. I'd like to have permission to put these up on your bulletin board, a little brochure, and every time I sell a car, I'll donate $100 to your favorite charity. He dropped his arm and looked at me and said, I'm my favorite charity. So we sat down. That 2-minute deal lasted for a half hour. And the other thing that was crucial is every time I sold a car, and you never, ever, ever mail them the check. You take it in, and you don't want to stay there 10 minutes. You just want to stop in and say, hey, Mr. Brown, I really appreciate you letting me put these brochures up. Here's $300. And get out there fast as you can. After the third or fourth time, I said to him, Mr. Brown, do you know anybody at Reese's? And he said, yeah. I said, would you mind giving him a call so I can chat with him? He picked up the phone right on the spot. So the point I'm saying is the exact same thing Justin's doing. Once you get in with one and you treat them right and there's a genuine concern there, they'll introduce you to other people. So that's what I did. Like I said, I was there. Bethlehem Steel had 5,000 people. But most people don't have enough courage to go after these big companies. Or, the main thing is just keep trying it. Justin makes a real good point. Once you're in there, good people know good people. And I think I'd have lost a lot of stuff if I just sent him a check rather than come in, shake his hand, and saying thank you. That's the point Justin's talking about really building a relationship.
And can I add a little bit to that, Brian? I'm sorry.
Sure, sure.
And that's what you're saying, building the relationship, because then Mr. Brown calls the owner of Reese's or manager or whatever, plant manager, and says, hey, I'm going to send my friend Fran over. He doesn't want to say, I'm going to send a car salesman Fran over. He said, I'm going to send my Fran over to talk to you. And that's, once you're a friend of somebody, you're a friend of all their friends. And to the bird dog checks, I never let the dealership mail my bird dog checks. I'm the only salesman here that says, when my bird dog checks are ready, put them on my desk. I'll either call them and tell them to come pick them up, or I'll put them in a handwritten card again. Thank you so much for sending me a referral, and mail it that way. You want this to be as personal as possible.
All right. Now, here's another one. Fran, this one I believe is about your goals. What is the purpose of the 11 envelopes, Fran?
Well, number one, when I started, believe me when I tell you, I was sort of like Justin here. Maybe that's why, I don't know, we can see eye to eye to a lot of things. I didn't have a car. The owner bought me clothes. When I wrote down goals, I wrote down real estate, racehorses, fly around the world, hunt, fish, and have my own game preserve, buy my grandmother house, so on and so on. So I didn't have enough money to go put in an account, so I just wrote them on an envelope, and I started with $25, $40 in each one. Once you get an abundance in those envelopes, then you're going to take them to the bank. What you do, then you put 3 in one bank, 3 in another bank, 4 in another bank. Just put them in different banks, because after a while, you have the banks competing against themselves as far as interest rates. I mean, they tell you that on all those success courses. So, and if you have the money to go open up 11 bank accounts, go for it. That's the key. You want to write on, it's in my book, you want to write down what you want. Like if you want to go on vacation, the average person puts their money in check and savings account. They come back, they got their savings account wiped out, great vacation, but they got a goose egg. If you put money in an account just for vacation, you come back, you still got all those other things working for you. Now you still have a great attitude and you want more. That's why it's so crucial to have 11. Never go below 11 goals. Once you have them little ones out of the way, Justin and I were talking about this morning, you get that dishwasher, mower, whatever, freezer out of the way. Now you get to start thinking big. And you never go below 11 because you have big goals, little goals, long-term and short-term goals. And by the way, you are allowed to have more 11. Those of you that are listening, I suggest go with your spouse and have him or her write down 11 and then match them, because I really believe that the two shall become one, because now you're all working for the same thing. And one of those goals, and it's in my book, is prospecting. You have to put money in that prospecting account every time you get paid. Like, it takes discipline, like Justin's doing, to go out to do all this stuff. But guess what? That's how you make yourself a $500,000. You know, so start with those 11 goals, put a little bit each one. When you get an abundance of money, you probably do like I did, hit them under your mattress, but then one day you get them out and count them and say, man, I better put them in the bank. That day will change your life, I guarantee it.
Can I add a little bit to the prospecting part of that? So say you have $300 a month prospecting budget. You're doing pretty good. You can spend $300 a month on cards and magnets and stuff. I say spend $200 of it and take that other $100, and if you see a customer in your lounge getting an oil change, no, don't do it all the time, and don't always use the same people or the same methods. Walk by and go, I hope you're having a great day. I'm going to pay for your oil change today. It's $20 of prospecting money that they'll remember forever. They'll definitely remember it until their next oil change. Or if you're out in town and you see a couple of your customers sitting, and especially if they're sitting with people that aren't your customers, go by and buy them a drink or buy them a dessert, or if you're doing good enough, buy their meal. My wife and I do that all the time. She's in sales also in insurance. But we'll see a couple sitting there with another couple we don't work with, and we'll go buy the whole table a meal. Now, you don't do it all the time because you don't want to go broke doing this, but if you'll take your prospecting budget and add some of that stuff into it, that's as good as anything, because the people sitting with them will go, who's that? Who just bought our meal? Oh, that's my friend. He's in the car business. Or that's, there you go, a whole new list of customers.
And the other thing about that, too, is, your meals are 50% deductible. Every time you go out to eat, you keep your receipt. It's 50% deductible. The prospecting tools are 100% deductible. It's like Justin and I were talking about earlier. I said, Justin, go spend $5,000 on prospecting tools. Watch what happens next year. You see, when you start to get an abundance of money, then you're going to look for ways how to save it. And that's the key. That's the whole part about those 11 goals. And I'm the same way. When you're out and you're meeting people, you don't have to go overboard, but if you, like me, when I was at work, we used to have a little chow wagon. I used to go buy the guys sausages and milk. What the heck's $3? Next thing you know, they were sending me customers, the service department, because I spent a couple bucks on them now and then. My customers, I was the same way. If I made a big gross on them, I'd sign my name on the card. I had a deal right across the street where they could have a steak and a bottle of wine. Hey, this is your first car? Good. Here, compliments on me. So, if you don't have any money, just start with something small like Justin's talking about, or myself, and then grow. The more money you make, you never, ever quit investing in yourself, ever, because it all comes back. But that's giving. That's the part Justin's talking about. Brian, are there any more questions here? I think we went past a little bit.
Yep. Well, everybody, looks like we're out of questions. I appreciate everybody taking the time to join us today. Justin and Fran, I really thank you. I'm sure all of our listeners would too. You guys shared with us a lot of valuable information. For everybody that's on the call, if you're not on 30 Sales a Month yet on Facebook, go there. There's also at 30 Sales a Month on Twitter. And if you haven't had the opportunity to check out Fran's website, it is frantaylor.net. He's got a wonderful book. It can change your life, and I appreciate everybody coming. Have a great day, and let's get back to selling.
Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, guys.
All right, bye.